My name is Johan Dahlgren, and I'm the head of standard at GS1 Sweden. I've also been the convener of one of the working group working on standards for DPP. The working group 2 in Senelec focused on identification and data capture. So there has been a lot of discussions throughout a few years now. We have organized 61 half-day meetings leading up to those standards that has been set, and there has been some very intensive discussions in this working group leading up to something that could benefit the every industry as a whole, hopefully. But today I will have a little bit different role from my convener. I will present the work and also how it fits together with the GS1 system. So I'm presenting today as the head of standards for GS1 Sweden. So first of all, and I speaking to this crowd, I guess you already know this, but there are many different ways to approach DPP. And for setting the frame of this is the harmonized standards for the digital product passport and the delegated acts for the ESPR. We also now see other regulations approaching DPP in a similar way. So this is, and I will come back to this a little bit more. But I guess you know GS1 Sweden, so I will not go into it in so much detail. But I think it's important to state that we are a not-for-profit organization. We are user-driven. We organize our work in different user groups, and we are open to everyone that wants to join and participates. And we represented a system with 120 represented in 120 countries with 2 million user companies globally. But in GS1 Sweden, we only work on the Swedish market basically. But and I know you know the background, the Green Deal, the Circular Economy Action Plan, and the ESPR, leading up to the concept of digital product passport. And this digital product passport is expected to have benefit for many different use cases, from the extraction of raw material to manufacturing to public authorities having support in their monitoring of the market, and remanufacturing, repairability, reuse, and recycling, of course, but also like customs, and of course not to forget the consumers. And in the ESPR, for instance, they are very much focused on the consumer access to relevant information about the different products. And you've seen the demos. You need structured data to set this up. You need a way to have the unique identification, and you need to have the link between the data and the identification. This is what we at GS1 Sweden has been working for in GS1 for many years. So this comes very natural for us. What's new is the approach, the decentralization of the data, putting it out and collecting it through a link, basically. And coming back to what the European Commission has said, that the digital product passport isn't just some new thing that comes. It will become the main tool for disclosing and sharing product information across all new and revised product legislation. So this will be something that we build for a long time in the future. This will be the core infrastructure for how we are sharing data, basically. And it comes from the ESPR. the DPP as a concept, we see it goes up to the battery and CPR and toy safety and detergent and PPWR now. They will reuse these harmonized standards that have been set at Senelec. We also see the development that a new committee and ISO IEC are established. They will have their first meeting in September, where they will develop these standards globally to take in other aspects, also China and US and so on. So this will be like a starting point for a global standardization. But what is interesting is to look at this, that the standard sets the infrastructure, the system and the how, and the delegated acts specify what will be included in them. Together, they combined will be a DPP. So far, we know quite a lot on what happens before that point when we put it on the market. There are still some uncertainties about what happens afterwards. How will these data be collected? What will the regulators say about what happens with the reuse and recycle and refurbish part of it? But this will come. This is just to set it up so it's easy to implement it going forward. But if you look at like this, so the harmonized standards and why they are important, the harmonized standards gives presumption of conformity to the legislation. So if you fulfill these standards, you will automatically fulfill the regulation, the ESPR in this case, or the CPR or whatever. And then you need to put data in this infrastructure so it makes meaningful sense. And this is what will be specified in the delegated acts. What is the European Commission is currently working on quite a lot, I've heard, is the DPP registry and how to put this link in their registry so all of these digital product passport will be listed in a common way and could be found and also monitored for a long time going. And if you look at it like this, okay, so we will have some very much data coming from the value chain that we need to structure and organize in some way. We will have the backup and the issuing agency where we need APIs or similar things from the economic operator. The economic operator is the one that putting the DPP on the market. And this will include, as the standard says, a lot of different things that needs to be made sure that they fit together, that they can build on each other. So the identification goes in the data carrier that can use a resolver. We need a system or platform to visualize it. We need a way to exchange the data. We need to make sure that it's interoperable. We need to make sure that it's secure, and we need to make it available for the market. So when developing these standards, every single module has been developed. The thing that are the main issue going forward is how these different modules will fit together. Some fit quite good together, some doesn't, but we will need to continue to work on it to make sure that they are all fulfill what the purpose. And then you put it out in public information and private information, and also you make it available to the European Commission. So the standards that I have been involved in is the global unique identification and the data carrier linked to data. And these standards are not just one way of fulfilling it. They offer very much different ways to fulfill the DPP. So you can choose different ID schemes for identification, for product identification. different ID schemes for economic operator ID and for facility ID. Then you need to choose model, batch, or serial. You need to make sure that the link between the identification and the product passport is structured in some way. You need to choose the data carrier. You need to make a choice on using an issuing agency or a self-issuing system, and you need to make a choice if you want to have additional marking on your product or not. These are just some of the questions. If you look at it at the standards in total, the standard itself defines 25 terms and definitions for unique identification. It aligns around 6 principles that gives 19 general requirements. These are the same for all of the ID schemes listed in this document. And every economic operator have to make sure to fulfill these 19 general requirements. There are also some guidelines, and you see the principles that the requirements are listed around. And the output from this document is that, okay, we have 5 different ID schemes to choose from. They are based on international standards, and they offer different ways to fulfill the DPP. So you can choose an issuing agency, you can choose a self-issuing system in some kind, or you can choose if you want to have the ID included in an RFID or an QR code, and you can choose a lot of things. But you need to make sure that the general requirements are fulfilled. The same goes for economic operator ID and facility ID, and here are 4 different ID schemes you can choose from. So when you do this choice, you need to make sure that you are choosing something that works in the long run, I would say. And for the data carrier, it's the same. There are a lot of different requirements specified in this document that you need to make sure that you're fulfilling. This is for a lot of persistence and how it will work in an actual environment. So you can use the data carrier in different use cases and throughout the life cycle. And here you are offered 5 choices basically. So you can use a data matrix, you can use a QR code, HF RFID, NFC, or RAIN RFID. So these are the choices you're in front of. And then you put this in connection to the data through the other standards. And if you go back to the GS1 system, so the GS1 standards are normatively referenced in ID scheme 1 and 4 in this case, which means that if you choose one of these schemes, if you choose one of the paths in that scheme, will need to use the GS1 standards to fulfill it. And this is important because then you will get guidance on the general requirements that are specified in the documents. And none of the other schemes will give this guidance. There are different ways to fulfill them through these schemes, but this is one of the key points that I want to stress when you approach these different schemes. And the same for economic operator ID and facility ID. So ID scheme 1 and ID scheme 2 uses the identification from GS1. We'll conclude my presentation, and I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.